Can you guys hear me without? So, what is an ecumenical council? Why do people call it? What was the head? So he said, in short, number one, what humanity is it? You got both. You got both. Who was the popular person against the against Popular who? And then what was this thing? So you just want to say Athanasius contra mort, which is God and Son for Athanasius to take the word. Because remember, I told you Arius was also two. A conscience of two from doing. And you are the world is against it. All these stuff is against the spiritual life. But I'm against the world. So, second, Dominican account. This is also going to get a second Dominican account. Constantinople, yes. Years. That's my point. Yes. How many bishops? 150. Excellent. What was the heresy? What was the heresy? Macedonia. Yeah, that was the heresy. That was the second one. And they were called also, if you know, the Semite. The Holy Spirit God. What came out of that? Until? Third. What was the third thing that they got? Ephesus, yes. And who was, well, let's start with the year. You're a reader. And how many people? Okay. And what was the heresy? Yeah. Yes, Christus also? Or Theo? Christus also is the mother of Christ. So, you guys know the word of it. So, Theo, so the mother of Theo is God. So, you can call it Christus. You need to believe that Christ could have been the one who was God. That was it. Who was the first one who came to the faith? Another popular one. Yes, a lot of letters. Is that what that is? The zero was okay. I don't remember what so, is that what that is? So, what is the second council of Ephesus? That's one of them. So after the council of Ephesus, the story in Ephesus, the story is found in Britain, and he was then, persecuted, yes. At the time, remember there was the Lutheran Valley. What was the Lutheran Church? No, there was no one about that at all. There's a girl. You don't know it? His church, but you know, what was it? Ed well known. Let me say this. No, it's quick to understand here. So before the council of Chalcedon, there was only one doctrine, one dogma, one faith, and one sacrament and the river. There was no Orthodox doctrine after the Lord. Only one. But it had many political centers. They were also the so there were three major ones were And your domain, yeah. Anything else? Why is it not correct? Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Again? People call him Chris. Not alive at that time. Eutychus, Ludicrous. I really don't know what his nickname is. There is a reason, though, why not called the Ecumenical Council, but only the Ecumenical.
Because ecumenical means it was accepted by the Catholic Church. The reasons we'll discuss with Chalcedon. In Chalcedon they did, so a couple of years later. So the heresy of Eutychus came about what's called monophysites. That was the terminology ascribed to his heresy. Mono meaning one, physites meaning one. Right? So monophysites. They believe we are monophysites. They meaning the Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church. Because we accepted Eutychus. What we don't know is that we repented and came to us, and we believe the formula that St. Cyril put together, which is without mingling, confusion, and alteration. And that is called miaphysites. So we are not monophysites, we are miaphysites. Two, combined into one without mingling, without confusion, without alteration. Again? Yes, you came. Really? If her middle name was Physite, then you got something. Right. So that was Eutychus. Then in 451, King Theodosius had passed away and became Martial King, and there was a lot of political turmoil. Ulpius Quartus was not liked. Ulpius Quartus was head of the, remember, the three churches fighting or politically vying for the top dog position. So the one in Rome was called Pope Leo. And he yes, his name was just Pope Leo convinced the emperor to hold another ecumenical council, called the Council of Chalcedon. Yes, and that was in year 451. So second council is Ephesus 449. Council of Chalcedon just 2 years later. All of this was fresh in everyone's mind. And the issue. So in 451, now 449, we just had the second count. What? Are we that boring? Are we that? So the issue for the Council of Chalcedon is this whole issue of, does Christ have one nature or two natures? And if, by the way, how many of you ever look about in the bosom of the Father? Inside there's a book. Inside the altar. Actually, it's right here. It's right here. It's right here. This one. Can you guys see this picture? How many fingers is? One. All right, one. It's one. One finger. This is a reference to we believe in one nature. If you look in the Catholic Church, you will see two fingers. Yeah. Say again? Oh, no. How many fingers up being raised? So yes, a hand has 5 fingers. You could come closer to see it if you want. See it? He's holding up 1 finger. If you look in the Catholic Church iconography, you'll see 2. What? See? Catholic Church. Well, setting aside, yes. So by the way, just so you know, this is as an aside, these are called icons. These are not called pictures. Because church iconography is supposed to depict a theme or something about the dogma, or something like you won't, St. Mark, there is no point in his life when he had the lion and the gospel in his hand. But the icon is supposed to tell a theme or a story, whereas a picture is supposed to show something that happened. So it's depicting something that existed. Oh, we'll talk about it. This is just as an aside. So anyway, 451, we have now this issue of monophysites, 1 nature or 2 natures. We're actually miaphysites, remember. So Pope Dioscorus went to fight Nestorius. Pope Dioscorus is the Pope of our church. He went, but why does it say he's absent? Because they actually, when he went, they told him that the council was delayed by 5 days. They put him off to the side, and they had the council. So, yeah, so because there was this political turmoil at the time. So, and this is see the 2 natures. Now, hold on a minute. Nestorius praised Tome of Leo. The Tome of Leo. Does anybody know what the Tome of? Is this something you guys covered already? I don't, and I apologize because I don't know what Uncle covered and didn't cover. Okay. Okay. The Tome of Leo is the letter from Pope Leo, in which he was trying to defend against the Eutychus heresy. He was trying to explain that Christ had 2 natures. Obviously, we don't agree with his Tome, and we don't agree with Eutychus's heresy. We agree with, what is our doctrine again? 1 nature, but it is miaphysites, yes, not monophysites. Without mingling, without invasion or confusion. Let's go up a little bit to be there. The council was against this. They brought it to discuss Eutychus. Pope Dioscorus was going to fight against Nestorian because Eutychus had already repented. If somebody does something wrong, repents, I did something wrong, the church takes him back. So had Arius come back and said, hey, what I was teaching was wrong, the church would have taken him back. The problem is that when people don't relent. So what happened as a result, there was a split. Because now Pope Leo, Rome, and the Eastern Orthodox churches, who knows what the Eastern Orthodox church is? The ones in the East, yes, thank you. So the Greeks is one of them. There's another very big one. Russian, thank you. So the Greeks and the Russian. They went with the Catholic Church, and they're called the Chalcedonian churches. They ascribe to the Council of Chalcedon. Because we were not included, we don't share that belief, and they misunderstood us because they thought we're monophysites when we are miaphysites, are non-Chalcedonian church. We don't agree with the dogma that it is 2 natures. Okay. The dogma means it the beliefs, the core set of faith. What is faith? And that could be the aspects of, Harvey knows this, I covered it a million times before. There's theology. What is theology? Okay. There is Christology. There is soteriology. What is soter? Yes. Ben sotirin agha sos. Savior, study of salvation. Study of salvation. There's eschatology. What is eschatology? Study of the eschatology. The study of going up. Yes, second coming. Yeah. Well, okay, we'll take it. And then there is also Ecclesiastes, which is the study of. And what is it in reference to? Ecclesiastes is? It's the fellowship. Notice, all the ologies are studies of how we relate to God and then how we deal with each other. Say again? Ology means study, yes. So our dogma was actually not correctly understood during the Council of Chalcedon, but we became the non-Chalcedonian churches. And that is us and our sister churches that we are known as the Oriental Orthodox churches. There is Alexandria, Jerusalem, and Antioch, and out of them came other churches. Does anybody know what are our sister churches? Okay, there's school. There's probably, I think Virgis has a picture of the map now, or on the right. See? And if you look, just so you know how political it was, Uncle Virgis graciously put this map together. There's Antioch, Alexandria, and Jerusalem on the east, and then there's the Roman churches on the west. And ironically, non-Chalcedonian. So, but now keep going. Okay, that's cool. We went over this. That was all religious church. Okay, no problem. What are our sister churches? I know you said Indian, Eritrean, Syrian, and you said Indian twice already. Yeah. Greek is not a sister church. Close. It's very close, and actually there were a lot of discussion. It's very nice. Let him talk. It's okay. What? We have, but they come into the faith because the fact that we're Coptic Orthodox, we are Orthodox. The language that's being used or the culture is Coptic, but people are free. Once you ascribe to our doctrine, our dogma, you don't need to be Coptic to be part of our church. Again? Coptic means Egyptian, old Egyptian. But just the language that's used in the service, the culture that's applied, the tradition. But the dogma itself is Oriental Orthodox. Oh, thank you. Yes. So, what can you tell me about, for example, let's take the Antiochian church. Why is the Syrian church or the Antiochian church important? What happened in Antioch that was very, very important? Very, very important. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. It's not even in the history of the world. No, the Council of Jerusalem happened in Jerusalem. Ya salam, أنا انبسطت أوي. Okay. And they were first called Christians in Antioch. The Christians were first given the title Christians in Antioch. Before that, what were we called? Anybody know? No. Nope. Followers of the way. The way. That's not it. Say again? The way. The followers of the way. Where's the way? Oh, Aramaic? You mean what was... You want the word in Aramaic for the way? I don't know the word. I don't know the word. Coptic is a word that refers to the language of the services and the traditions, the little T traditions. Orthodox is a set, in a straight line. So there is a, let me back up because it's helpful to talk about this. What is religion? It's a way to get to God. Yes, to something that you follow. In this instance, in the religious context here in church, I think it's to God. You get to that through a set of doctrines and dogma known as Orthodox. In our case, in our faith, Orthodox Christian, Oriental Orthodox Christian. What language and tradition do we use to practice our orthodoxy here? Coptic. What language and traditions do they use to practice, for example, in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church? Ethiopian. Let me give you another. In the Armenian Orthodox Church, Armenian. But the dogma in the Ethiopian Church and the dogma in the Armenian Church is also Orthodox. But there are some minor differences. For example, I'll tell you, the Armenian and Sunday sliding. The Armenian Church, when they come to do their oblation, they don't use leavened bread. They unleavened bread. It's malty. Yes, but for us it's important because of it's the symbol. What is the symbol of the leavened bread in our case? Christ taking the sins. The yeast that you used to leaven the bread, it's always a symbol of the sin. In the Bible, in our church, that's always there. Again? They have a wine different? No. But it's all, say again? Not necessarily. In Egypt, they don't use Concord grapes. We use grape. And it doesn't have to be many Shavits or Concord grapes or whatnot. Yeah, we don't take the brand. They're fancy. I don't know what we use here. We use one. But we don't use wine that's been titrated into wine. Let's keep that distinction. Wine that's titrated into wine, we don't use that. Wine that's been titrated, meaning the wine, if you go to a restaurant and ask for, a glass of Shiraz or a glass of Malbec or whatnot, we don't use that kind of wine. That's called titrated wine. What? You check the wine? It's not going to be. We'll drink together. So far, does that make sense? So we have, after that, Chalcedon, where Pope Dioscorus, and that's why Pope Dioscorus was, in that council, they ripped his beard. They sent him back because he was so, they thought he was a heretic. And on top of the fact that he wasn't liked because the church in Alexandria wasn't liked. So there was, they didn't want to put them first. There was competition. So, Akid. Yes, and by the way, that's not easy. Put yourself, always put yourself in the shoes of the person who saw your rib. Leave the drink outside. The drink's in charge. Put yourself in the shoes of that person. تخيلي كده, just imagine if the Pope is there and he's being told, not only is your dogma incorrect, we're going to beat you up and we're going to excommunicate you. You have no place at the table anymore. It's harsh and embarrassing. From the Chalcedonians. We are excommunicated by the Chalcedonians. Not from the Church of Alexandria. Yeah, not the Church of Alexandria remained intact, but as a church, we were called in the mind of the Catholic Church. We were now heretics, right? Because they thought we ascribed to. Yes, we're not in communion with them. They're a sister church. I mean, don't get me wrong, we have a lot of similarities. There are more similarities than there are dissimilarities. Good question. Because people don't know. The Bible says, my people have perished for lack of knowledge. The Bible also tells us you have to be prepared to give a defense of the hope that is in you. Right? For the reason of the hope that is in you. That's why we are here. Because if somebody comes to you now, Fia, and asks you, well, are you Catholic? Well, no. It's not that I have anything negative to say about them. I have a different set of beliefs. And that's important, right? We are not in the business of saying, another church is bad. We're in the business, we're saying, we're good, we're right. My faith is good, my faith is right, and I know why. I'm going to tell you. Because X, Y, and Z, exactly. Because otherwise, if you think about it, what's more convincing to someone? If I come to you and tell you, convince me of a point, for you to explain to me why you're right or why some other person is wrong. But you're right. If I explain to them why am I right, they will automatically find the reasons why the other side is wrong. Like if I explain to you, like as we went over, why we are not monophysites, we're miaphysites, because we believe that he had to be fully human in order to carry the wages of sin. Whether they think they're wrong or not is up to them. But we believe that they are wrong. We believe in one nature. One nature, one finger. Yeah, one finger. So whether or how God will judge them at the end, not our call. Not for us. We believe that our faith is the right faith. We believe it gets us to heaven if we follow it. That's all we could do. And we are here to preach to people through faith. If somebody doesn't want to accept it and says, I want to go, with the Catholic Church, I want to go with X. That's up to them. But we still show a love. Love. We must love everyone. You are okay not to agree. You don't have to agree with everyone. That's right. You don't have to agree with everyone. Yeah. It doesn't mean and that's why, again, you don't have to you love everyone, but you don't have to accept it. You're not required to. There's this saying that we always say, and you'll hear it in your Sunday school. We love the person, but we hate the sin. So if somebody, God forbid, right, he is, I hate that person. How many people say, I hate that person? A lot of people. Focus on yourself. Now we as pre-servants, guys, we as pre-servants, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to love. What would God do? Those little things, WWJD, what would Jesus do? Love. Right? Christ gives us a chance through love until the moment we die. Then he also loves us, but what happens is Christ is also just. You get judged according to your deeds. So Christ's love and Christ's justice coexist. Right? He's loving and he'll give you all the chances in the world. But once you know, I have insisted and I've persisted and I persisted and I passed away, then Christ's justice will judge me. Does that make sense? So it's very important. And I know this is not part of our lesson, but I'm glad somebody brought it up, I think. It's very important to give her the looks like, why did she do that? Why did she do that? It's very important to know what you believe in order to be able to serve people whom you serve, not only in word. The easiest thing is to stand up and say, I'm going to tell you today about the 3 councils and the Council of Chalcedon and recite to you a bunch of materials. The hardest thing to do is to be a living servant. There's a saying, many times, you are the only gospel somebody will ever need. Right? You know what that means? Yeah. They will see your good. The Bible tells us, so that they may see your good works, deeds, and glorify your Father in heaven. See, the Bible is a living word. See, it all makes sense, right? If I am the only time somebody's going to see God, I gotta, don't mess it up. And as a servant, that's doubly on you, right? When you stand up, or even when you're just standing in church, or when your people whom you're serving see you, you have to set an example. Your service will not start by the day you walk into Sunday school. The way it is, they should not see you. They should see Christ. Your job as a servant, and we'll talk about this in a few months, is to be a bridge from the people you serve to God. If the focus is ever on you, you got a problem. Who gave us a good example? Again, I like to draw things from the Bible. Who was a very good example of somebody who came to him, oh my God, you're so good. But he said, no, there'll come a person after me who's so much better than me that I'm not deserving to untie his shoelaces. John the Baptist from the Baptist Church. Yes. And a good example of a servant. Right? People came to him, you're so awesome, dude. The person before me, I'm not worthy to untie his shoelaces. That's and Peter. So keep that in mind. You are not in this for glory. You are in this to be a deliverer of a message, to connect. To be an apostle. What is an apostle? A deliverer of a message. So the focus of the message is not on the messenger. It's on the sender and the recipient. Have you ever heard of the post office rule of what person is the most only thing that of the post office? You wait for UPS, but who do you care about once you receive it? The sender. Yeah. Exactly. So think about it now. So now, because let's focus back on, we can keep going back, let's go over some of the churches. So the Ethiopian church and the Eritrean church, here. Antioch, we went about this. Thank you. Syrian church. So disciples traveled to Antioch. The disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. St. Paul and St. Barnabas preached there. And Peter visited. That's why it's so important. And the Chalcedonians lived them as a result of the working of the Jews. They're a sister church. So you could go and take communion in that Syrian Orthodox, and they. No, I don't know if they do it down here in the South, but I know in New York, New Jersey, once a year they do this pan Orthodox. Sister churches. So there are 7 churches that we could. That's my. Say again? This is my phone. That's my. This is the Armenian church. First country to adopt Christianity as its official religion. We talked about the differences. They do also celebrate the Theophany in 1906. What is Theophany? That's a good question. What is Theophany? Don't kill me. What is Theophany? It is. What is Theophany? The Baptist Epiphany. Theophany. When he was baptized, that was Christ, there was a voice from heaven saying, "This is my son whom I love thee, and the dove, even with that spirit." No, we celebrated on the day of By the way, just so you guys, we have 2 minutes before we have to evacuate. So just so you guys know, they're going to evacuate for Bible Academy. So in the calculation, as you guys know, we celebrate. Others celebrate on December 25th. It so happens that actually probably neither is correct, but the more correct the reasons that we can go over. Because we use a different calendar. What happened we use a Julian calendar. Everybody used to celebrate on January 7th. They calculated that added up to 12 days. Catholic Church, others decided actually hold things back for it. So we woke up one day and it was 12 days earlier. So Christmas was 25th. We maintained it at January 7th because we have a lot of other, it would screw up a lot of the calendar. So they are more correct, technically more correct than us in the calculation of Christmas. We are more correct than them in the calculation of Easter. This year. Yeah. And just so you know, so that somebody asked you the way Easter is calculated, it's after this. That's what we believe. Yeah. Any questions? You guys have a test on Sunday, right? Yes. No, this is an actual test that the. Yeah. So now I think this is this was the last lecture in church history. So now, so get the lectures from Uncle Nathan, and if you need time to study before you take the test, that's fine. Sit with us, please. So, does anybody has any questions about any of the lectures that are for this test? Yes. Right. I said most of the exact what I said, except for the last part we were discussing something else. It's exactly what's on. Anybody else? Any questions? Any thoughts, concerns? Next week is off, I think, Uncle, for spring break. We're going to get together with Uncle Nader, I think, in 2 weeks. And we're starting a module, the next section is Old Testament. Old Testament. Very good. You guys are off this week because let's say together. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Father, one. What?